Hello my fab bunch, I hope you're all doing really well this week. Okay, so today I want to talk about something that's really important to me. I want to talk about depression. And I know I have mentioned this a lot on my channel, but I think it's something that's really important to talk about, and I don't think it's something we should stop talking about. Just to backtrack a little bit, I have been informally diagnosed with major depressive disorder. I say informally because I've been diagnosed by my doctor and several therapists, but I haven't yet been diagnosed by a psychiatrist. Unfortunately, the waiting lists in this country are super long, and I've been waiting a year now, and hopefully in August I'll get my formal diagnosis. I've been experiencing depression on and off since I was about 16. But about 3 years ago, when I was in my second year in college, it started to really hit big style. When I first started to experience the symptoms, I was absolutely terrified. I thought I was losing my mind. I had no idea what was going on. So when things were at their lowest, I used to look up people on YouTube who were going through similar things, and that helped to educate me a little bit more with what was going on. Today I want to take you through 9 warning signs that may indicate that you might be experiencing or about to experience major depression. But just to say, I am not a psychiatrist, I'm not a GP, I'm not yet a professional. I have a 4-year degree in psychology. I'm working towards becoming a therapist, so I have a little bit of knowledge, but maybe not as much as, say, obviously a psychiatrist or a GP. So if you are experiencing anything that I mention here, please go and see your GP, or at the very least your therapist or psychotherapist. It's so important, guys, okay? So depression can mean different things for different people, and for me, I fit the category mentioned in the DSM. So the DSM is the Diagnostic Statistical Manual. DSM is basically something that psychiatrists and GPs and psychologists and anyone working in the mental health field really usually refer to when they're trying to figure out what is the possible cause of a patient's symptoms. I myself am not the biggest fan of DSM. I don't think it takes enough into account about the different sort of spectrums that you can be on depressive disorder. It is good to give a sort of basis for the symptoms. And obviously I completely appreciate that there's other types of depression. Like I said, there's a spectrum. You might have mild, moderate, and major, like I'm going to mention, or you might be somewhere in between. Obviously one's higher up in the spectrum or more high risk, but they're all equally important and each of them can be equally distressing. I have felt it on each ends of the spectrum, and I know how distressing it can be. The most important thing to know here is that you're not alone, and I myself have gone through all of these symptoms plus others. DSM-5, which is the latest one, says that you have to be experiencing 5 or more of the following symptoms during the same 2-week period, and it has to represent a change from previous functioning. At least one of the symptoms is either depressed mood or loss of interest or pleasure. And I have had pretty much both of those things at the same time, and both of those separately. You see the way it says change from previous functioning. So before, if you were quite active and you were quite an extrovert and went out a lot with your friends, and then all of a sudden your mood just maybe completely changed, that could be an indication of depression. There is a note here that says do not include symptoms that are clearly attributable to another medical condition. So this is really important to take into account. Everything that I mentioned here, you could have, say, 3, 4, 5 of these symptoms, and it may not be depression, it might be another underlying condition. I am just connecting this to depression through the DSM. Like I said, if you have any or all of these, please go and see a professional. So number 1 is depressed mood most of the day, nearly every day, as indicated by either subjective report, for example, feeling sad, empty, hopeless, or observation made by others. Example, appears tearful. Note, in children and adolescents, it can be an irritable mood. So it's actually really good here that they've mentioned about somebody else observing, so somebody else might actually notice it in you before you notice it in yourself. Obviously really important to notice it in yourself as well, so you can get help straight away. So I have suffered from depressed mood most of the day. It is absolutely horrible. I felt sad, empty, hopeless. There have been times where I literally feel empty, I feel nothing, and actually for me that is so much worse than feeling sad, because at least you can almost deal with the sadness and cry it out, and it's quite cathartic. Whereas when you feel empty, it's horrifying. And I'm quite like a passionate person. I've like a lot of feelings, a lot of highs and lows. So when I get to that empty stage, it's horrifying for me. Number 2 is markedly diminished interest or pleasure in all or almost all activities most of the day, nearly every day, as indicated by either subjective count or observations. So you might notice it, somebody else might notice it. I have been here so many times. Like I said, coming to the end of my second year in college, I started to develop really bad MDD, major depressive disorder, and whereas before in first year I would have been really involved in like just going out with my friends, going to class every single day, going to the gym and doing shows and all these kind of different things, and that all just completely stopped bit by bit. And then it actually got to the point where I couldn't even function on a day-to-day basis. I couldn't really take care of myself properly. I wasn't washing properly, eating properly. My house was in bits. It was totally a mess. And all I wanted to do all day was like lie in bed and not speak to anyone or not do anything, because it sounds strange, but it actually hurt to do anything. It was physically painful to get up and do anything. Number 3 is significant weight loss when not dieting or weight gain. For example, a change of more than 5% of body weight in a month, or decrease or increase in appetite nearly every day. So that is definitely something I have struggled with when experiencing depression. First off, I do have a decreased appetite sometimes with depression. Like I said, I don't eat properly when I'm in a really bad way, but unfortunately for me personally, this leads to binging. So what I'll do is I won't eat all day, and then come say like the afternoon or evening, I will eat a meal that has like loads of calories, like fast food or something like that. So in the 3 years that I've had MDD, I have put on 2 stone in weight. I am only now starting to get under control. It stemmed from a lot of binge eating, a lot of unhealthy behaviours. It stemmed from a lot of comfort eating. I'm quite an emotional eater, and it's only now with the help of a therapist and the help of medication I'm putting my weight back down. I am going to Slimming World, and I've joined the gym recently as well, which is making a huge difference. But this has only come about in the last kind of year or so it did take a while. Number 4 is insomnia or hypersomnia nearly every day. Oh my god, I have gone through this so much. So insomnia is obviously when you can't sleep even when you're tired, and I have been through this so much. During what I call my sort of almost manic phases, I can stay up for like 22 hours at a time, and I can study and I can clean. I love to clean when I stay up for 22 hours, and I'll just have so many great ideas and I'll be buzzing. And then there's the other side, hypersomnia, which is where you sleep too much. And this is a huge sign for me that I'm about to experience very bad depression. If I start sleeping then for 15, 16 hours a day, I know it's bad. So I will sleep through the night, get up in the afternoon, stay up for 2 hours, do maybe what I need to do, and then sleep right through the night again. And that is a serious warning sign for me. It's kind of like I want to like hide myself away from the world and just not deal with anything. Number 5 is psychomotor agitation nearly every day, observable by others, not merely subjective feelings of restlessness or being slowed down. So I've definitely have the agitated part. Like I said, it's almost like a mania for me. So when I stay up in my 22 hours, I'm quite restless. I can't settle down. And then the slowing down I definitely get. When my memory starts to get poor, actually, that's when I kind of think, oh god, here it comes. This might be the start of depression. Number 6 is fatigue or loss of energy nearly every day. This is how I live my life, lads. Like, honest to God, I am just chronically tired all the time, and I've just sort of accepted it as part of who I am. I love sleeping. It is a genetic thing because a lot of my family are the same. They love to sleep. But I'm like Cosy. I love coffee. You all know I love coffee, and this is why coffee and Diet Coke give me life, because the caffeine, I'm so addicted. But even without those things, and even when I'm following healthy habits and eating really well and having things checked, I still feel tired, because in the back of my mind I'm always at least a little bit depressed or a little bit anxious, and that in itself is exhausting. If you know someone who is constantly tired, maybe just, you know, give them a break and don't be mad at them if they can't do everything because they're exhausted, because it could be an indicator of some sort of mental health issue. 7. Feelings of worthlessness or excessive or inappropriate guilt, which may be delusional, nearly every day, not merely self-reproach or guilt about being sick. So this is absolutely like another thing that takes over my life hugely, and it's something I'm going through actually at the moment, which I'm picking up on as a warning sign. It's good that I'm self-aware now, so I know what the signs are, so they don't scare me as much anymore. But I constantly feel guilty. I feel guilty about not seeing my friends enough, not spending enough time with my pets even though I'm here every day, not loving my boyfriend enough, not spending enough time with my parents. Like, there's a lot of guilt, and it's nothing to do with other people. Like, it's me that's feeling this, and I am working through it with my therapist. So find yourself a good therapist. That is just, it's such a cliche to say this, but like, it's one of the best things you can do. Number 8 is diminished ability to think or concentrate, or indecisiveness nearly every day. So yeah, absolutely. This has seriously affected me in college. So in 3rd year I got okay grades, but I know I would have gotten so much better grades if I had been able to concentrate properly. And I know hindsight is a weird thing, but like, it just sucks that I had to experience it during 3rd year, because it's quite an important year for college. But I'm making up for it now. I'm actually doing deferred exams in August, and I'm studying hard for that. My concentration levels are back again through medication, through therapy. And I definitely, like, I have quite a low attention span anyway, so it's difficult, but it's better than it was, you know? Something I just want to make on this point is, if you are in school or college, don't be ashamed if you have to defer things. It's okay. It's actually a really good idea. Number 9 is a very important one. The last one's very important. And before I talk about it, I want to just say, if you are experiencing this, please, right now, go and get help. Whether it's a doctor, a therapist, somebody you know, you can DM me if you want. Please just talk to someone. Number 9 is recurrent thoughts of death. Not just fear of dying, recurrent suicidal ideation without a specific plan or a suicide attempt or a specific plan for committing suicide. This is one that I find difficult to talk about because I have experienced some of those things. I have not attempted it, luckily enough, but the other, suicidal ideation and a plan, I have had. Luckily enough, I no longer have this. I'm obviously quite scared that it might come back, but that's why it's so important to look out for the warning signs. And I have a lot of good people in my life, and a lot of things are going good at the moment, so it's definitely not something I'm considering. But if you are considering it, just please try and get help. It's really, really important that you stay here. Okay, I hope you found this somewhat informative. If you have any questions, just pop them down below, and you can DM me if you prefer, whatever you prefer to do. I'll put my social media links down below, and you can DM me through them also. If you liked what you saw, give it a thumbs up, and if you could share it around. I'm just trying to get the numbers up so that I can get some money out of this to donate to some mental health charities, so it'd be great if you could help me out there. Okay guys, so look after yourself, and I'll see you again. Bye!